got it for 3 reasons. Right time, right place, and right
Is
God.
that fake chest hair?
Yes, it is fake chest hair. I did it so you could see the Star of David a little better.
That's really funny.
This is where the troops go in the back right there.
Normally, I don't do intros for this show. Well, we actually added one, but I usually don't introduce the guests on here. We just kind of riff, but this is an exception. Look, there's not really an easy way to rip the Band-Aid off the wound here, so I'm just going to have to do it, be very blunt about this, guys. I have been dreading doing this episode for as long as I can remember. My agent, well, I should say my former agent after he booked this monstrosity, I used to be able to say with confidence about him that he has never stooped to the bottom of the barrel to find guests for me to get on this show until today. I wish there were further ados to add to this, but I have to face my fears, and I'm going to have to get this over with if I want to move on with my life. Unfortunately, without further ado, my guest today, Thomas M. Gass. Gass, I hope you're not doing okay, but how are you doing?
Yeah, pretty bad. My boss said it would probably hurt my position at the company if I took this podcast. But
really,
we were friends at one point until every day I had to keep looking at the shape of your head. But I think we're doing good.
Now, technically, I do know what you do for work, but what is your career actually? For the audience, you don't have to go into too much detail.
I'm an engineering technologist. I cannot say a lot about what I do. That's like no jokes. I actually cannot say a lot about what I do. I'm not allowed to. It's a pretty awesome job. I build really, really cool things.
That's good. Okay. And the only reason that I'm kind of surprised by that is because you're actually the last person that I would ever suspect has anything going for them in life. So I'm surprised you even have a career.
Yeah, dude. When I heard that you had a podcast, bro, that was crazy. I was like, this guy's way too stupid to have one of those. And then you invited me on here. So basically for the past 2 months since you told me, I've been trying to actually make sure I don't kill myself before I get on it. But,
Gass, I heard, so can I ask how big your chin is? Like, have you actually measured it before?
Yeah, it's at least 3 feet.
3 feet?
Something like that. But actually, so it was a few weeks ago, I basically posted on media that I was going to be doing a podcast, and then I showed a picture of you. So it was like Nickelodeon or somebody contacted me. I don't remember exactly who. They're doing like a reunion from Malcolm in the Middle, and the original Dewey wouldn't come on. Yeah. So they asked if I can get my friend, who looks exactly like him, to go do it. And
because I'm a G, and because I'm a real leader of a group of people, I told them I'd be more than willing to do it. Something you don't know anything about, by the way.
Yeah, I don't take any opportunities. It's just what I do. I like to be a failure. It's kind of one of my things.
Yeah, that's exactly who I was looking for when I was my agent was looking for. He immediately told me, he's like, Cody, we're looking for somebody who just can't get it together in life. Really has, like, as they would say in boot camp, somebody who really does suck at life. And my first guess, Thomas M. Gass.
Well, that's good. Before we really get started, I did have a question. I've always wondered this.
Oh, please.
How does it feel knowing that they use your head to teach high schoolers how to measure the angles of triangles?
It actually felt really good. I will say that's because a lot of people think this podcast got big because of my episode with Colonel Sieverts or Major Geiger. That actually helped me out a lot because I get a lot of my buddies are like, yeah, I knew you growing up, right? You were the because it's always been a theory. Einstein's actually struggled to debate this question: is it an isosceles or a scalene triangle? I still don't know the answer to that. And before you even try to throw this out there, yes, my mother's C-section did hurt, by the way. Gass, I heard because I actually have an engineering job myself. I heard that your chin is so heavy that OSHA is investigating your neck for structural integrity.
Yeah, they had to come do a few measurements. So when you got that hat, did you have to call and have it special made? Like, are you going to have it sit all the way down to your ears? Or are you just going to have it sit that high up?
It's actually not that. My head's so. Contrary to popular belief, my head's not that big. It's really just like the shape and the circumference, diameter, radius thing. So as proof, this is actually pretty tight. This doesn't even go down all the way. This is like the college frat boy type hat where it just sits. I still have another 2 rings to go, by the way.
Oh, okay. It's one of the first things I noticed when we met up again. Looked like a traffic cone sitting under the traffic cone.
Yeah.
Just wasn't going all the way down.
Yeah, and looking at your chin, because I could see that being looking like a traffic cone. I will say, when I saw your chin, you look like one of those like Antarctic like ships coming in to sea, like when you were just walking up to me.
Yeah, just a little bit of fur now, I guess.
Do you need to have, how much facial hair do you need to keep? I assume a lot to be able to keep that chin warm, or does your chin have enough body heat to keep your head in blood flow right?
I don't have a body fat in general, so staying warm is kind of hard. But
Okay. Well, being Asian though, I mean, I was gonna try to crack a nuclear weapon joke, but that probably wouldn't have landed. How is
I mean, it did land, killed a lot of people.
No. You beat me with the wordplay. Now, I actually don't know this, by the way, but how Asian are you're not like full-blooded Asian, right? You're
No,
technically mixed.
So it's my dad's side of the family, but my dad is not full Japanese. So like if you saw my grandmother, she's 100% Japanese. You'd have no doubt in your mind. But like when you see me, you're like, I don't even know. Evidently in Japan, they know. It's weird, by the way. They like actually know I'm Japanese. They'll start speaking to me in Japanese the minute they see me. And I don't know any.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know a few insults and things to make people really mad at me, but
Well, of course you do, because you have no social skill. That's probably
yeah, that's
why it
pretty
is.
much it.
Yeah, which is ironic. I bring you on this show of all places.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like so I guess that would be 25%, something like that.
Okay, so it's your grandmother, your paternal grandmother, right? It's just one of your grandmothers is Japanese, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
Well, that's interesting. So if it's just one grandparent, how do you have like the because you do have some Asian features. I mean, you're like black hair, the skin. I mean, you don't have the eyes, but it's like, how do you maintain all that if it's just one grandparent?
I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, I gotta admit though, so it is pretty cool though, because you technically do have Japanese, but I want to shake your grandfather's hand, because at least he made our ancestors proud, being somebody who probably conquered the Japanese people.
Yeah, at least instead of joining them. Instead of dying during a kamikaze attack, that kind of thing.
Yeah, he made us proud by the fact that you're literally living evidence that your granddad was smashing Japanese puss.
Which, by the way, I never understood the kamikaze attack, dude. I learned about it. I was just like, dude, you can't do that again. Like, why are you gonna? You're really sticking it to me by dying. I don't know.
Well, I mean, to be fair, what else were they gonna do? I mean, by that time they were already. Like the war
that
was
is
basically
fair. They were like, their whole population was starving because they couldn't feed them and all that. So that's a fair point. Also, like, they didn't want them to go home being dishonored. Dishonor in your family.
I guess you couldn't say it in a Japanese accent. What is it? Death before dishonor?
Yeah, something like that.
Well, how do you enjoy California, though? I mean,
I actually really like California, legitimately. It's extremely expensive, but like, nobody believes me until I show them pictures of like the houses that you can get in my home state for so cheap. Like a house in South Carolina, where I'm from, that's worth $100,000 is worth like $1 million in California. It's insane.
yeah.
But California is nowhere near as crazy as I thought it was going to be, because I'm from South Carolina. It's all like very conservative there, and all the media basically makes it look like you're going to run into unhinged liberals when you go to California, which I don't really care what political party you are. I genuinely don't give a crap at all. But like, I thought it was just like, I'm not trying to walk in the store and then someone get mad because I'm not wearing a shirt for someone's cause or something. But when I got here, everyone's just pretty normal. They're a little bit more rude. They don't have as many manners as like in the South, but
Yeah, not to cut you. I have noticed that's like a Southwest thing. Like, you don't really get a lot of that social, like, they're not more sociable or like willing to have conversations with like complete strangers or anything like that.
yeah, it's like it's a lot. I liked it a lot more. I really like how. That's why I decided to stay in California, to be honest.
Really?
I actually really like the area, and people are pretty nice.
Okay.
And got this really awesome job opportunity, which, by the way, insane, because at first when I got out of the military, I was going to go be a paramedic or an EMT. I was going like, well, both, but you have to be an EMT for like 6 months at least before you can be a paramedic. But I met this dude at the gym. He realized I was in the Marine Corps because I was still in at the time. And they were just like, hey, like...
Brokeback Thomas. I like where this is going.
We started talking about some things, and then it came up in conversation that I try to do a lot of the work on my car myself, or I'll get like my buddies, we'll all do it together. It's like, okay, so you're good with tools. Like, yeah, it's like, can you get clearance? I'm like, yeah, I can do that. It's just like, we need somebody. And then turned out to be the coolest job ever. Like it doesn't even feel like work for me.
Mm-hmm. So what exactly do you build, by the way, being like working your engineering stuff?
So I cannot say what we build. I very much cannot say what we build, but like I can tell you a little bit of the skills that I have to go through.
Now, can you not say what you build because it's actual top secret stuff, or is it because it's so embarrassing you're just like, I don't want to reveal how much of a fraud I am to
Oh, it's a
everybody
little
for
bit
doing
of both. I don't want someone to look at me when I say what I build and be like, wow, this guy's a cuck, right?
Yeah.
But no, it's like
such a unique word choice for that.
yeah, no, it's like we do stuff like metal work, circuit boards, electrical. If you want a really good example of something that incorporates all of the skills that you have to do to put together, is like HVAC units incorporate a lot of different skills. Do a little bit of 3D modeling. I don't have to do as much right now because I'm still kind of new, but like I'll start getting more into that role. Mm-hmm. And that's with like SolidWorks, if any of the viewers use that.
Okay. Now I'm trying to think, because I know everybody wants to try to land like a really good job when they get out, but you got it basically just from like just luck.
Pure luck. I just happened to be going to the gym and met this dude. We're really good friends now. Yeah, it was just pure luck. He's the craziest opportunity. But they let people take care of their families. Like, there's nobody argues, nobody gets mad when someone's like, hey, my kid has, no, I don't have a kid. My kid has a basketball game I need to go to. It's like, okay, cool, just make sure you do your work. And then you can go to it, you can do whatever. If your kid's sick, it doesn't matter. If your wife needs something, like, no one's going to get fired because you got to do that. It's pretty awesome.
Okay. So obviously you and I are really good friends, hence, why we were roasting each other for the past 10 minutes. But what is your, just for anyone who's not familiar with you, what is your, like, just summarize your Marine Corps background real quick, or your...
Yeah, so I was in the Marine Corps for 8 years. I was a mortarman. I'd also been being an FO. I've basically been in every position in mortars you can be in, other than like the official platoon commander, because you can't actually get that MOS if you're not an officer. But I have had the billet of platoon commander before. Started out in 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines. That's where I met Cody Soul here.
America's Battalion.
Yeah. And then I ended up going over to 1st Battalion, 1st Marines.
Oh, by the way, which I forget the shout out to whatever site made this, by the way. But
oh yeah, we got to see this.
Yeah, I'm finally repping the merch, by the way. Let me not the range jacket, although these are great too. Thank you, Floyd, for this, by the way. Yeah, but I finally got the yeah.
Heck yeah.
Boot motivated right there.
I actually don't get a lot of motivated stuff. Like, I have like 3 shirts from the Marine Corps. But what else? Yeah, I went to 1st Battalion, 1st Marines. Loved that unit. That was an outrageously proficient unit. It was pretty insane.
Which one?
1st Battalion, 1st Marines.
Oh, one. Okay.
Yeah, 1-1. And then I got sent to 3-5. This is actually a really interesting one. The reason I got sent to 3-5, I ended up getting a call about it, was because 1-1 had like the vast majority of all these senior mortarmen in the Marine Corps. So mortarmen don't re-enlist a lot. I didn't know that until I got that call, because I was trying to stay in 1-1 because I loved 1-1.
Okay.
And they're like, no, like, you have to go 3-5, cannot deploy. They don't have enough like senior mortarmen. So okay. So I ended up going to 3-5, but I actually really enjoyed it. It's probably my favorite section that I was in charge of. I was a 60 millimeter. I was a section leader for that. Guys were really good. It was a very senior section.
So what was I gonna say with that? What was because you've told me about this before for a long time. You really like favored 60s over being 81s, and like when we get into like the deep mortarman talk, I like it since that was our like. I haven't had too many mortarmen on, so I like going deep into that MOS. But what makes you the bigger fan of the 60s versus the 81s?
60s, I think, makes better mortarmen overall. And I don't even think it's close.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So 81s, you'll get people who are better at gunning, hearsay, or better at the board. But if you take a 60 section that is serious about what they do, these guys can do everything. They can do every piece of the mortarman pie, right? As I guess is a phrase to put it. There wasn't a single guy in my section who I wouldn't have trusted, even if I told them, like, if you guys are watching, even though I might like tell you, because I'm trying to keep your head up a little bit, that you suck or something like that. Every single one of them I would have trusted to take over the section. And there were situations where it was more so evident that they could too. Yeah, and like even the 81's platoon, because we all got attached. Anybody who's a mortarman probably knows this. All the mortarmen are getting put in the same platoon right now for the next 2030 plan.
Yeah, I heard about that. Is that because I correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember I think it was Baker, one of the guys that we knew. He I think it was 3-6 that he went to, but that was the thing. It's like all the they basically all the mortarmen were in a platoon, but then whenever a line company needs some mortarmen, they'll just like, hey, here's like 5 or 10 of them for you.
Yeah, and it also has to do with all the new loitering munitions, which we can't actually talk about here. We can mention that exists. We can't talk about what they do and the actual tactics behind them. But
Are you scared?
a lot of the mortarmen don't even know yet.
Now, can we mention it, but you're just scared that you're going to ruin this, the only career opportunity that you have right now? Is that the bigger concern for you?
Oh, no. For specifically the loitering munitions and all that, it's because that's like protected by the government. So like most mortarmen don't even know a lot about the actual usage of that right now.
Okay.
Because it's still, yeah. Yeah, but to go on further about like the 60s, it's just a more proficient, like I became a lot more better mortarman when I got put in the 60s because you get pretty humbled really quick with everything you have to be in charge of and know. Like if you're a 60 section leader who knows what he's doing, you have to be good at fires overall. Like you can't just be good at the board. You have to understand it deeply. You have to understand how air works. You have to understand how machine guns work. You have to understand how rockets work because you want to make sure you're not cutting them off. You want to make sure that you're not getting in their way. You have to be really, really good at paying attention to the maneuver and getting good at how fast they typically move. There were multiple occasions where I would have to look through my SCO, which is a new optic, by the way. If you got out of the Marines, we all get like 8 power scopes now in the infantry. And I have to look through it and see what pace they're going so I know if I can actually give them the amount of suppression they were asking for.
Okay, so it sounds like they're almost because I know with 81s, I mean, obviously we're just a support element, but with 60s, I mean, you are a support element, but you're basically fully integrated with everything.
Yeah, well, they're starting to do it a little bit more. So at the time, units are kind of scared. They don't know what to do with mortars. Most commanders are, and it's no offense to the commanders, they have a lot to deal with, so it's really hard to just know everything.
Yeah.
They're kind of trying to figure out how to use mortars really still. And especially with like the new, nobody really knows with the next gen war. Nobody actually knows how it's going to work.
No, of course.
But so they're still trying kind of using them conventionally. I had been trying to push since I got to 60s of making the maneuver with the 11s. And the reason I wanted that is because if we were just going to use them like 81s, just use 81s, right? Because 81s is a bigger blast.
Yeah.
There's no point in using 60s that way if you can use a bigger bomb. Bigger bombs are always better. And well, other than like 5% of cases, right? So the strength of 60s is that it can be really, really quick effects, really, really quick HE when you just really need it. Because 81s, it takes a minute, right?
No, of
They
course.
may not be laid in near you. It could take anywhere from 30 seconds to 20 minutes before you get rounds. With 60s, if they are with the maneuver, you take contact, you can have a round on the contact in 30 seconds. Guaranteed every time.
I was going to say, yeah, because 81s, when you think about it, it definitely does take a longer time, especially when you're gunning on the gun. You know, you have to do.
Yeah, it's pretty great, and you get really proficient people. I think you should start in 60s and then go to 81s because 81 should be an outrageously proficient. Sorry, I got my words mixed up because I'm retarded.
Well, you're Asian too, so it might be a language barrier. So
Yeah, because usually I speak in math. This time I'm having to do English. So,
well, don't worry. My massive cranium cap can I can translate it and comprehend. I'll put it in the subtitles if you don't understand them.
yeah.
How long did it take you growing up to master? Because I know a lot of Japanese people struggle. Is it the L sound or the R sound that they struggle with?
Yeah, they turn L's into R's. South Park makes fun of that. Welcome to Shitty Walk.
How are we fearing?
Luckily, I never had to deal with that because I didn't start with Japanese. I don't even know Japanese. My grandmother, though, she still watches TV in Japanese and reads in Japanese. So,
Okay.
Yeah, it's like anytime I go to her house, she's on Japanese channels.
Do you have any family that like either lives in Japan or was like any way tied to the Second World War? Or?
Well, I don't know if my aunt lives in Japan still right now. I don't know if there's anybody else alive that are there because my grandmother's pretty old. She is a grandmother, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was do you want to I texted Charnes, by the way, to see if he has Gunny B's number. I don't know if I have his because I wanted to yeah, Gunny Bowden or Master Sergeant Bowden or whatever they call you in the Space Force. You're more than welcome to be on here. Do you have an idea who we want to call?
I have no idea, to be honest.
I'm
You
thinking
can call whoever you want.
Oh wait, Charnes just he gave me Gunny B's number. He gave him his number.
Oh, here we go.
All right, so I'm gonna send him a text message real quick just in case he gets the call. But let me do you think Gunny B would remember you more or remember me? I feel like he would remember you more just because you guys deployed, and apparently you guys correct me if I'm wrong. We could actually talk about this story, but you guys roasted him, or the section would roast each other when everybody would walk in.
Especially Langelo and
you know what?
Christie. Those two would roast him all the time.
Before I continue, can you share how you guys would do that? Because that was actually really funny when you told
my
that
favorite
story.
one was
or I'm sorry, give background to what it is we're talking about here.
Oh, so our platoon sergeant was Gunny Bowden. I think he's a master sergeant now, if he's still in. I heard he went to the Space Force, which I ended up, one of his really good friends who I deployed with, ended up being my platoon sergeant again when I went to 3-5. That's how it kind of came up. That's how I figured out that he apparently went to the Space Force as an augmentation. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So while we were on ship, we were on the USS New York, we would just heavily roast each other. It happened all the time, including our platoon sergeant. But one of my favorite moments one day is he came in, and he had been trying to grow a full head of hair for a while, right? And we're all roasting each other. We're saying some stuff, and we're saying some stuff that's so bad, he ended up getting really uncomfortable, and it got really, really silent. And to break the silence, Christy was just like, "Well, your hair's coming in great." Our platoon sergeant ended up leaving the berthing and didn't talk to Christy for a week. It was so funny.
Yeah, for any of you who don't, most Marines will know this, but we all know a staff NCO that looks like this, just above 6'3", jacked sleeves, bald,
Yeah, very, very bald.
Yeah, very.
Dude was strong though. Oh my God.
Yeah, dude, he's built like a NFL tight end linebacker, just massive size for a human being like that.
It's ridiculous.
I will say though, the one thing I always feel this is a hot take with leadership, but he always had a swagger and a charisma about him, and I love that with people. I don't really feel like I saw that with many others. I don't know what made Gunny B about that, but I don't know. That's probably my favorite thing about him.
He was also a genius. That was an absolute genius. Knew more about fires than probably almost anyone I've met.
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong, but is it always a thing where at least in 81s, by the way, but all the platoon sergeants have to be from artillery?
Yeah, they're supposed to be usually the FTC MOS.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm texting him back and forth.
Are you trying to call him?
No, I was gonna send him a quick text real quick, just so that way he knows who it is, and then if I call him, hopefully he'll pick up because you know how it is when you call some random numbers, a lot of times you won't pick up. All right, so we'll wait a little bit and see if he responds. If he does, and then I'll call him up, and then we'll roast him on the show. We'll mention his bald head and how he's a space ranger.
Oh, you should look at his Instagram. He has bling on.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Can you describe? I don't think I follow him, but
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, we'll show the pictures on here against his will. We'll do that. Because it is public information. If he has a
yeah, that's his fault for having having an Instagram.
Well, unless it's even if it's private, I think we can still share. I'm sure he'd be a good sport about it.
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
Okay. Here we go. Well, yeah, I'm gonna have to share it. What in the? Okay, let me pull up here real quick. Yeah, we'll have to show this here. Yeah, he definitely does have some bling on. Very, motivated is the word. I don't know what kind of shoes are those.
I have no idea.
I almost thought that was the rebel flag on him for a second. I'm like, Gunny, you what?
Yeah, but actually I ended up being under one of his friends when I got to 3-5. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say his name because I don't know if he wants to be on here.
Okay.
But he ended up being a platoon sergeant, and we actually deployed with him. He was on the USS New York. He was staff NCO for Fox Battery.
Okay.
Yeah, out of the box Fox.
Out of the box Fox. How was being on the New York? Because I've always heard it sounds like it was one of the cooler ships to be on.
Oh yeah, I was also on another ship when I went to 1-1, by the way, and it's the same style, USS Portland LPD. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. You got an L-shaped rack. You're chilling. You can sit up entirely in your rack, mm-hmm. And it's only 3 high. You never have to worry about getting as cramped as the ship he was on, which I went over to for a little bit. So
You did go onto the baton?
yeah, before we went to Jordan.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, the whole section came on at one point, and you got to see our poverty stricken
You
country
guys
for a
were
little
just
bit.
living in the boonies, dude.
Yeah, the way I would describe it is like between like the two ships we were on, like imagine being in like Japan or the United States, like, you know, you got your problems, but you know, it's still a great place to be on, very prideful. And then you go to us and it's like Ghana, or it's like, you
It
know,
was so bad. You guys would sit in line for chow for like 2 hours, and I don't remember having to sit more than like an hour if it was a special day. It had to be like steak day. Most of the time it was like 20 to 30 minutes for us.
I think the worst, I don't know what it is. I don't feel like too many people voice this, but I feel like the worst part about being on the baton was because we had flight quarters. So when the birds are on the aircraft carrier, when they're up in the air, you're not allowed to go up and like get.
Yeah,
in
we
the
had that
sunlight.
too.
You did? Okay, yeah. I don't know how frequent it was for you guys, but it was 24/7. We never saw sunlight on
Well,
that
yeah,
boat.
you guys were the crisis ship, the crisis response ship, so it had to. But
Yeah, it felt like being in a crisis on that boat. That's the
yeah,
perfect
you guys
description.
were living poor, dude.
Yeah.
I went to y'all ship and I went on there. I was like, oh my god, somebody needs to get like a therapist for these dudes.
They really should have. Like, I felt very quirky. I actually, me and Chitty, ironically of all people, we kept a quote book.
Shitty bang.
Yes. I don't know what you're doing, Chitty, but will you get on the show, please? I'm trying to find you. Living in the wilderness.
That guy was funny, dude. He was so funny.
Dude, we kept a quote book of like everything that if anybody said anything that could be taken out of context or that just sounded like completely random, we would just jot it down. And so it was like all the guys from like Weapons, H&S. I'm thinking about sharing it with Ford. I don't know if you remember Big Chevy.
I do remember him.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do an episode with him in the summertime, probably in Dallas or something. And he's got a couple good ones in there, so I'm probably gonna. I have a couple ideas in mind for when we share that.
Yeah. This is like on topic but off topic, but just talking about comedy. The last unit I was in, that was one of the funniest sections ever. And I'll give you like an example of what happened. So this is the first time really meeting this section, right? We immediately were going to the armory. I'm not going to mention the names, but if he's watching this, he knows exactly who he is. And we go up to the armory window, and this dude, they hand him a compass, and I'm talking the very second the compass hits his hand, he's like beep 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 beep, goes towards his other friend, who's just like, my gaydar's going off, and I'm like, so this is what I'm getting myself into.
Yep.
I just started dying. I was like, oh my god, and that was just all the time. Those guys were funny.
Yeah, I feel like that's a very common. I feel like it's a very common thing. Like that. That's just like who we are as Marines or like military. It's just trying to enjoy the small things, doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's fairly common.
Yeah, that's what happened all the time in that section. That was fun.
So how did you enjoy, because I never saw you as like because technically we weren't leaders like when we were in like 81s, but then how do you go from what was the transition like when you go from 81s and then go into being in a leadership role in 1-1-3-5? Just how was that?
Oh, it's humbling, dude. Again, like especially going to 60s, like you got to know a lot more in 60s as a section leader. And because I was a sergeant, I immediately went to section leader. So there was a lot I had to learn starting off, like quite a lot. And I ended up figuring out. I feel like I figured it out pretty well. Had a good. I mean, it was also a good unit to do that with because the unit was just so proficient. So.
Yeah.
That was 1-1, by the way.
Okay. How long were you with 1-1?
2 years, I think. Yeah.
Okay. What was which unit was? Because it sounds like you speak very highly of both 3-5 and 1-1. But if you had to really, because I know you're not picking 2-8 as your best unit, that's for sure.
1-1 was the best unit. 3-5 had my favorite section.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that. Do you prefer anything about 2-8 81s or like about that over the other units or no?
Those are the most. That was the best 81s platoon I've ever seen. And anyone who's watching probably knows this. And it's no offense to the 81s guys, but I like to be just straight up honest in what I see about things. A lot of 81s platoons are just really not that good. They're good, like they'll get the job done, but like if you compare them to a really good 60 section, like a lot of them just are lacking in certain areas. But
Gash, you can stab me and just say I was a shitty Mortarman. You can say it on there.
The 81s platoon that we had was uniquely good.
Okay.
And I think a lot of that had to do with like Cody and then some of the seniors we had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That'd be a scary one to call. Well, not even scary one to call, but I'd feel like he'd be interesting to have on.
Yeah, he was intense.
Yeah.
He's very intense. I mean, it worked though. It made people very good at what they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was the one, and I feel like Gunny B also had this a little bit too, but like when you see somebody who has passion for their work, he kind of reminds me a little bit of, and I feel like only a few people might get this, but John Gruden, the football coach, whenever you see him, like, because he's one of those people I feel like who's so passionate about his job. He loves his job so much, I feel like he hates it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah. Sometimes I miss those guys, but I'm out now, so.
What was the quote that because you actually shared with me a really good quote that is he a gunny now, by the way? I want to put some respect on his name.
I don't know what his exact rank is, but yeah, Cody ended up saying to us one day, he said that you should be willing to lose rank for your guys. Now that he went on to say that doesn't mean you should be a dick every time you can to leaders and never be willing to work with them. It just means like when your guys need defense, you need to go defend them. Otherwise, they'll lose respect for you because they realize they're supposed to have your back, but you don't have theirs.
I like that.
Yeah, so I tried to live to that
Mm-hmm.
and fight for my guys whenever I could.
Yeah. How do you feel knowing that you've done that very poorly, by the way?
I feel like I did decently well. There's guys I still looked up to, but that was the one thing I tried to do. I wasn't perfect. There were things I could have done better, but I did at least try to help them out whenever I could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you did. Well, it sounds like you. All jokes aside, it does sound like you did fairly well. Because I mean, if I feel like a good sign if you did well, like either as a Marine or as a leader, is if your guys are still talking to you after we're all free and all said and done.
Yeah, I hung out with a few of them a little bit ago.
Are all of your junior guys and most of your peers from like 1-1-3-5? Are they all out too, or because you haven't been out too long?
From 1-1, they're out.
Okay.
From 3-5, they're still in. They're getting out like this year, or next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the rest of the section that they already got out.
Okay. Gunny, fucking respond, dude. I know you're not doing anything.
He might be the Space Force. They got important things to do, I guess.
What is he gonna do in the space? I don't even have a funny joke for that, but I'm trying to imagine big old Gunny B trying to do anything in the Space Force.
I don't know, making space lasers and trying to create the real Master Chief. Who knows?
You know,
UNSC, let's go.
You know, I feel like I find it funny because you know, when I had Major Geiger on, you know, it's funny how they make him the face of the Marine Corps, but I feel like they should make Gunny B the face of the Space Force because he does resemble Buzz Lightyear to a degree.
Dude, he kind of does.
Yeah, am I wrong? Like, I mean, because you know, not that many people in the Space Force are like. If I have it right, and I've heard that the Space Force, they basically just model themselves after the Air Force. They can't have that many people that are like Gunny B in there, I would assume.
Yeah, that's actually funny.
Yeah.
He really does look like Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah. Yeah, when I wonder if Gunny B, whenever he does a radio check in Space Force, does he have to go to Star Command?
What is it? Forward unto dawn, pillar bottom, calling one of those guys.
Buzz Lightyear to Star Command. What was the can you show me the video of the CFT, or is there anything even special in that video that we're using for the
Yeah,
thumbnail?
there was just so my last deployment, we ended up, they sent this in the leadership group chat, and one of the guys saw a unit doing a CFT, but they didn't have cones, or they had like 2 cones. They didn't have the rest of the cones, so they made them do the entire combat fitness test running around imaginary obstacles. Hold on, we'll pull the video right here.
Okay.
You can hold it up if you want.
Yeah, we'll probably edit this part through. Okay, so.
Yeah, it was just really funny. We're like, what are they doing? They don't have a single obstacle there. They're just running around it.
Yeah.
They had the guy pointing it out for them. That was the most ghetto thing I've ever seen.
It's like when you go to the field with notional rounds.
Yeah. And it's not even like it would be hard to get cones. There was a gym that had everything they needed.
They could have just waited like another 10-15 minutes and just got what they needed to do it.
Yeah, it was. We were like, what are they doing? They're retarded.
Yeah.
And of course, it was a Pogue unit, but that's what they do.
Well, do you ever look back and everybody does to a degree, but do you miss it? Do you ever want to go back in?
Yeah, of course I miss it. But I really like what I'm doing now. I got out because I didn't want to be a staff NCO. This is, again, no offense to the people watching, but I don't want your fucking job. I'm going to be honest. I joined to blow stuff up, that kind of thing. I didn't like being in the office whenever I had to be. And basically, the minute they're like, hey, we want to promote you to staff sergeant, I looked at it, I was just like, no. Like, I was deliberately taking less money being in the Marine Corps because I enjoyed doing the Marine Corps thing. Why would I want to go sit in an office doing something that people get paid six figures for when they're not in the military? Like, I don't know if you know that, but like the platoon sergeant job, like you're getting paid six figures out in the real world doing what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, you basically, because I was trying to get the roast stuff back going, you basically preempted it because I was going to be like, I find it ironic that you denied an office job just to go out in the real world to do an office job. But then when you bring up the money factor, like, okay, that makes total
I'm not doing an
sense.
office job. I get to build stuff. I get to do some really cool shit. It's not an office job. I ain't pushing paperwork. Yeah. I also didn't want to like just ruin the entire integrity of the Marine Corps by being a platoon sergeant for them. Like, I don't want the Marine Corps to lose all its lethality because they have Sergeant Gass being a platoon sergeant.
Oh, don't worry, they didn't have any lethality with you there.
Yeah. That's okay. I mean, the Marine Corps gained like 99% effectiveness the minute this guy left. So, yeah.
You're back. Of Eli Manning, now we can get a real quarterback to lead.
Yeah,
this team.
he's the Eli Manning of the Marine Corps. Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, I can say this because I've also been to a Super Bowl in real life. So I don't know if you remember that, but
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I do have a history.
That was like the highlight of your entire life. Yeah.
I mean, hey, it's one more highlight than you have. So I basically, I don't know how to put this to you, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I'm pretty boring. I don't do anything. My job's stupid. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, I see nothing's changed since you were in 2-8 then, right?
Yeah. Hey, this guy has a podcast now. Hey, so all you viewers out there, if you're ever depressed, you think you can't do anything, this guy has a podcast, all right?
I like to think I'm a beacon of inspiration and hope to everyone out there.
Yeah, to all those mediocre and below average men out there. Even women. I mean, women, it's a new U.S., I guess.
Yeah, hey, we believe in women's rights. We don't understand it, but we believe in it.
Yeah, women can vote now. I don't know if you know that, but
yeah, they don't have that in your native country, right?
Actually, I don't even know. Do they?
In Japan?
I don't even know.
Oh, they have. I think they have gay pride stuff in Japan. They'd have to now.
Yeah, well, I mean, everywhere has that now.
Yeah. How does it feel being Asian? So you're Asian, so obviously there is some level of intelligence, and with you being an engineer. But how does it feel to be so smart but yet so stupid?
Oh, I don't even know. That's how dumb I am sometimes. I can't even think about it. But but like, I'm just curious. How does it feel to be white but not have any of the privilege?
I've debated that for a long time. I've feeling white without any of the privilege. I was talking about that with my agent, by the way, because when I was asking him, I was like, what guests can we
when do I get that privilege? Like, oh.
Yeah, when do I get to invite some guests on that are actually like good conversationalists that have achievements, aren't Asian?
Yes, that's a key one right there. They can't be Asian.
I will give it to you, Gas. You have made a lot of progress because when I met you, you still have everybody still maintains some semblance of who they are. Like, we are still the same in some ways. But when I met you 2 days before 2-8 went to Bridgeport, I met a Marine who was motivated, who had potential, had a normal sized chin.
And then you met me, had all that potential, went straight to waste, never used any of it. Yeah. That's, the first thing I thought about when I saw you, it was like, oh my God. How can this guy work out 24/7 and still look like he hasn't gained anything? I was like, your arm looks like a flab just at all times. It's okay. I don't gain a lot of. I'm skinny. I've gained a little bit. All right.
How does it feel to be Asian but not have any of the intelligence? What do you think about that?
I wouldn't know because you have to be smart to know that.
I am smart.
No, like me. I can't tell dumb. I don't know how stupid I am.
Okay, so you are retarded then.
Yeah, just a little bit.
All right. Don't get offended by that nowadays. I've heard that they've tried to take retard off the what do you call it? Like the words we can use now.
Yeah, we're bringing it back on this podcast.
Yes.
We're bringing it back. You can comfortably call everyone retarded now.
Yeah. See, we're finding common ground here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, there we go. We got something in common.
Yeah. See, Japan and America can get along, by the way.
Yeah. Big allies.
You know what? I find that odd. How can you pose to me or ask me the question about me being white but having no privilege? You know what? I actually am kind of jealous of you. You're the one person I think who exemplifies what it means to have white privilege, because you're Asian. You have all the Asian features, but somehow you act and show the world that you're a white guy. I mean, think about it. Your first and last name cannot get any whiter. You still call yourself an Asian.
Well, I don't call myself Asian. It's just someone will ask what I have in me. I'm like, it's my dad's side of the family. It's Japanese. But I'm not Japanese. Like, I didn't come from Japan.
You know,
I
Gas
speak
supports the whole
Japanese.
DEI thing because he's so stupid that the only reason he got into school was because he marked himself as an Asian, so he got in as a minority, not because of his
Yeah,
intelligence.
I was actually so dumb. They wouldn't even let me in public high school until someone went to fight for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we did try to fight for your people back in the 40s, but, you know, you guys didn't welcome us when we stormed the beaches.
Yeah. You know, this is crazy. I was thinking about this. I've been thinking about it for the past however long I've been on this podcast. Been wondering how it feels. Do you remember when your parents told you how when you were born they couldn't tell if you were a boy or girl because your thing was so small? They actually thought you were a girl.
I do remember that.
Yeah, you remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you got your brains very, very large. I guess you probably remember before you were born.
I
be
do.
honest.
Yeah, it actually was pretty welcoming. I don't remember the first month, like the first trimester, you actually don't recall anything, but the second trimester was pretty cool. Like, I'm just sitting in, my mom's stomach, it's like, I got all this room in this placenta. I'm like, yeah, this is nice. I got all the food given for me, but I'm telling you, you don't think it gets tight in there, but then it gets really cramped. And then you're forced to make decisions and then grow as a person.
Well, I'm sure it's only on the top side of your head.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your favorite character? Is your favorite character to compare me as with my head shape? Is it Dewey or Jimmy Neutron, by the way?
Damn, that's actually a good. All jokes aside, that's a good question. Probably Dewey,
Dude.
because the face you look so much like him.
Dude, I can't tell you how many nicknames I've had over the years. It's ridiculous. Like Dewey, Jimmy Neutron, Pinky in the Brain,
Pinky in the Brain. That's a good one.
Yeah, I think it was Klein and Whitman actually called me that one. Tullibut called me Sunshine at one point. Who else? Well, my dad never had any nicknames for me because he left, so can't get nicknames for that. And yeah, there's that. Yeah. I wonder what's bigger. I wonder what's actually bigger if we did have a tape measure or any kind of ruler. My head or your chin?
Probably my chin. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of unnatural.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I find it weird how Judd made fun of his chin, and how we lightly roasted him. But you, on the other hand, we let you get by with it. Nobody talked about it that much.
That's because everybody was focusing on Whiteman.
Mm.
or Frazier.
Oh,
I don't want to. I shouldn't say their name. Everybody was roasting those two. Well, they were roasting Whiteman just because he was bi, but
Yeah, but unlike you, though, I mean, even though he did have a couple quirks out there, he was somebody who we could get along and respect, by the way.
Dude, he was so funny. That man would you couldn't really counter him.
Dude, I will be honest with you.
I would try, but I couldn't beat his. He had some of the best roasts ever.
I think right now we're actually doing real good because you've had some very good roasts that I can't counter. I think we're a pretty good match right now. But Whitman, I am very scared if I get him on this show. I feel like he's going to do so much damage.
He is so.
I
good
may never
at it.
recover.
He is so good at it. When he called Frazier the Make-A-Wish Marine dude.
I have I need to find a way to get footage of that. I mean, I don't think Frazier would be okay with me putting that on, but that was.
He said something to me one day. I was making fun of some of the women he liked, and so he started making fun of the Japanese people. He's like, you can't say anything when your women can be 28, have ping pong titties, and look like they're 12.
Yo.
And I'm like, bro, that is so funny. I couldn't say anything to that. I was just like, I don't have anything for that. I'm gonna be honest.
Jesus Christ.
He would just come up with it.
Yeah, and what's crazy is there's not really a lot that that's what sucks. If you're roasting someone who doesn't have that much material, you know what I mean? Like with you, it's you're Asian, you have a chin, Marines. Whitman, I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can make about him being bi, but other than that, that's really all there is. That, and maybe he's shorter, but
he couldn't run that well, a little chubby, but I mean, that's all we had on him. He could just come up with anything.
Yeah. How was being on that gun? Because I know every fire team always has like their own. Whenever you get a group of good friends or guys together with a group of 4 or 5, but how was? Because I feel like
It
your
was
gun had a
interesting.
lot
We were
of unique
roasting each
people.
other all the time. Dutcher was freaking hilarious. What was funny about him when he
I
was
forgot about Dutcher being on your guys.
when he was gunner, dude, he would go slow sometimes. He'd be like really slow, unless our seniors were like, "Hey, whoever gets done first, you get to turn everything in." And then all of a sudden, he would be the fastest gunner there. I'd be like, "Why can't you just do that all the time? Like, come on, man." And he's just like, "I didn't have the motivation." I'm like, "All right."
Mhm.
He was also really good with explosives. He had a few, what do you call it, PowerPoints on how to build things.
Okay. Did he read the Anarchist Cookbook, or was he just?
He probably did. He probably did.
You know what's crazy is I actually got. I'm pretty sure it's a text from him, but technically I don't know. He's actually because I'm trying to get him on the show too, but he anonymously texted me on Instagram, so I don't, or his Instagram or his phone number, but I still don't know if it's him or not. Maybe we should call him and confirm if it's him or not. Not to invite him on the show because he's going to be on, but because like what if it's not him? What if it's somebody trying? What if it's you pulling my string?
Yeah, it's me. I'm not actually here.
Yeah, maybe you are. Maybe you are really a smart agent after all.
Yeah, sometimes I miss those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're good. We're doing good now.
What's I assume it's fairly accurate, but do you agree with the statement? It's I miss the clowns, but not the circus.
Yeah, but it also depends on your command. Like, commands will make or break it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, and by the way, I'm gonna say this out there for any leaders, and I want every officer and staff NCO that watches this to like pay attention to this part. I used to think that whenever they'd be like, "Hey, like I couldn't do anything about it. We just have to do this," I used to be like, "Okay, yeah, whatever. It's coming down from command." When I became a leader and realized you actually can change something so it's not so gay for the guys, I just realized that all of them were full of shit. They were just too scared to say something. Like, have the balls to go up to command and say when something's dumb. Because I realized when I had the power to, I'd go say something and all of a sudden they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, that's a pretty good idea." And at that moment, I realized they were all fucking lying. And they were just too scared to say something.
Yeah.
That was when I realized, it's like, okay, all right. So for all you out there, you can 100% help your guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, being able to speak up. I mean, my previous example of doing. I mean, I told my agent, "Hey, this guest is not going to be a good fit for the show." But I mean, like, all jokes aside, though, it's like I don't know why. I mean, I kind of know why. I mean, because I think we put so much of a the Marine Corps is obviously very good at branding itself, but it's like, I mean, speaking up is not like this scary thing, like, at all. Like, I don't know what it is, but we have like this. Human beings just have a fear of being social for whatever reason.
The way I see it, it's like your job. So officers deal with so much stuff. There's no way for them to know everything that's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
They genuinely deal with a lot of stuff. So whenever I said like that before, it wasn't throwing shade. Kind of was, but like not full blown. Like, sometimes they really don't realize when something's done because they're dealing with so much other stuff. So it's like someone has to say something to them. But then they also have to be brave enough to do something about it. Like, everyone's always scared to ask first sergeant stuff and things like that. But whenever I realized I could do it, I would just go up, "Hey, like, can we do this?" And then all of a sudden they would say yes. It'd be like, "Oh, okay, so all these last times they were just lying to me when they said they couldn't do anything about it."
What do you think makes a good officer, since you were almost, I mean, technically you weren't staff NCO, but since you've made it to pretty, I've known you from like the beginning of your career to like, for the most part up until your end of it, but what do you think makes a good officer from your...
Being able to manage when you need to butt in and when you need to stay out of their way.
Okay.
I feel like my second to last platoon commander was really good at that. Like, as an officer, you need to know when you need to let your guys handle things and when you need to jump in and do it. Because the problem is if you keep jumping in and do it, then the section leaders will be like, "Well, then what am I here for?" And they're just going to let you do everything. And they won't try to do anything. And then you also need to not be scared to let them try things. Part of the reason, like, my guys were able to do well whenever, like, I left and all that, out and mess it up and have me there to show how to fix it, then I leave and suddenly you have nobody with any experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you'd rather figure it out now than have to figure it out later.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've noticed, especially, and you might notice this working in a more, I wouldn't call your job corporate world from like the way you described it, but it's like the one thing I do love about the Marine Corps that they do get right is they really try to, I mean, it's not always perfect, but they try to throw as much responsibility down to like the lowest ranks, the lowest officers, the lowest, non-NCOs as they can. Because at the end of the day, I mean, that's how you're going to grow, get stuff right, and be able to handle more.
Yeah, the best lessons I ever learned was messing something up.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. And I've talked about it with some people. I mean, I do feel like the enlisted culture can be very unforgiving at times, but it's like, I mean, it's definitely the place to learn to fail forward.
Oh, yeah. Definitely don't be afraid to make mistakes. You learn so much from that.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the best things I learned, like people be like, oh, how did you figure that out? I figured that out by fucking it up. Legitimately.
What's something else to make this fun? Oh, just thought of this. You have to go back in, but not as an infantryman. What MOS you picking?
I can't see myself as anything but infantry, to be honest. Like literally, I can't even think about it because if I went back in, I'm going to infantry.
Yeah.
I guess unless I'm too old and broken to be able to do it, then I'll just be like, I don't know, intelligence, like counter intel, something like that.
Yeah.
But I can't really see myself as anything but infantry.
You know what's gonna suck is if you go as counter intel since you're Japanese and then our enemy starts using Navajo code. You're gonna be so fucked.
It's okay. I'm starting to learn some Polish, so maybe that'll help.
Polish? Why Polish?
Oh, I plan on doing a trip to Poland. Yeah, I want to go visit Auschwitz.
Huh.
Yeah.
Want to see what your best buddies from the war were doing in the meantime? Is that what you're?
They're probably dying, you know.
Oh, the Germans.
All of them. Germans, Jews. I don't know.
Well, yeah. Well, you're not wrong. It actually sounds like a fun trip, though. I mean, not the Auschwitz part, but going to Poland.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I plan on trying to do it this year.
Why is it just the Auschwitz part, or just like why specifically?
I got
that?
super interested in the past like 6 months in learning about the Holocaust, and I was just like, you know what, I should go visit that, the Auschwitz. Yeah, I like literally I've read like probably 30 books on it. Huh. I've watched every single interview you can for all the survivors.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't, obviously I haven't been there, but I've heard it's very, I don't know if surreal would be the word, or very eerie. When you
imagine
actually
so.
walk
I haven't
through the
been.
camp.
I haven't been there yet, but no, I imagine it'll be.
Yeah. Aren't there other? Because I know Auschwitz is probably the more famous one, but aren't there other more notorious death camps or like labor camps that are over there?
Well, so Auschwitz wasn't one camp. It was a big area with a bunch of camps, like Auschwitz-Birkenau and Ravensbrück.
Oh, so it was a collection of them.
Yeah. So Birkenau was the death camp. That was where, if you were there, you were going to be killed. And then the rest of the camps were like specifically labor, and Ravensbrück was like the females. I don't remember the specific thing for it. Yeah. And that's where, if anybody who's here knows, there's thing like Irma Gracie or whatever, they're like the most infamous female Nazi. That was Ravensbrück.
Huh. Okay. What did she do? Was she just like running the camp, or what was she notorious
She
for?
was just known for like, well, I guess the famous thing about her was that she was very attractive, but then she was also like psychotic and sociopathic.
Oh, daddy issues. Okay.
Yeah, 100. Actually, yes, legitimately.
Oh, okay.
Dude, if you read like the book and all that shit, there was like, before she ended up going to Ravensbrück, she went home on a family trip, but she was also psychotic beforehand. She was like, destroyed her little sister's dolls or something like that, and then her and her dad got in like a really big fight, and she just left, and then went on to kill Jews, I guess.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah, I don't know any bad bitch nowadays to be willing to go that far. Shit.
That was a random thing to go towards. Talking about the military straight to Auschwitz.
I mean, this is what you get, though. I mean, this isn't a surprise to anybody who's
that's
in
how
our
we talk in
cohort.
the military too. So
yeah,
that's what we did.
Yeah, I remember talking with Baker about this one because it's so funny how like you said, the conversations change, because it'll go from like talking about like anime to like serial killers to like job knowledge, and then back to something completely whack. It's just all over the place. Like our minds and our lives, just you think you're killing it at your job, the next thing you know, Jody pays a visit to your wife. You know what I mean?
If your first deployment lasted longer than your first marriage, please step forward.
I'll take credit for that one. If you have more page 11s and you do pull-ups, please step forward.
More page 11s than you do pull-ups. That's so funny.
I wish I knew the other ones to that, but God bless.
The first marriage one though was solid.
Yeah, I won't say who that was to, but I feel terrible that I said that to somebody just because I feel like that applies to way more people than I realize.
Man, that one sucks. And this is like, again, I'll do this for any of the viewers here. Like if you're going through that sucks. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
'Cause I was in for 8 years, dude. The amount of infidelity from the wives and you freaking husbands in the military, by the way,
Yeah.
boyfriends and girlfriends,
Mhm.
is wild. Like I am not Brad Pitt. I know I'm not, and I've still had like people's wives hit on me. It's uncomfortable, and I'm like, I'll immediately obviously tell my buddy. I'll look at him like, all right, whore. Yeah, it's crazy. And it's like if for the females that like watch, I'll tell you this: if it seems like the guys are having trouble committing to you, that's because of the military life. Like probably like 90% of women that are trying to take advantage of Marines. They're trying to get their benefits. And they all get cheated on. I know at least 50 people that I could go by name that all got cheated on deployment. 20 of them I figured out through their Snapchat, right? So, yeah. So if you're ever wondering why they don't like to commit to you, it's because they don't think it's actually going to work out in most cases. And they also have to deal with the bullcrap in the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm. Don't get married.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Do the first deployment test. They can last one deployment. Doesn't guarantee it. It's a pretty good test.
Yeah, I agree. I feel kind of terrible making a lot of marriage jokes about that because I haven't been married yet. So it's like I feel like the like the fan that shits on like the football player who has a bad game or something like that.
Yeah, get proof. Get proof. If you notice something go like, I had this Marine, and he was talking about the minute he started talking about there's some issues, and I met his wife. I knew from the day I met her that she was cheating, or something like that. Like I could tell, and so I told him, I was like, hey, like, you should probably get proof. Don't like deliberately ruin your marriage if you can work it out. It's like, so like still talk to her, still like try to be normal. It's like, but if you notice, like take a bit because they will try to ruin you. And I was just like, I'm not trying to scare you, but from my experience, even if they say they'll do a peaceful, whether they talk to the lawyer and they're like, oh, let's take them for everything it's worth, they will try to do it. And push comes to shove, that ended up happening to him. She tried to do that, but he got proof. He did what I said. He took pictures of messages and all that. And yeah, he got a really good end of it. Got the really good end of it, which was awesome because most guys I knew, they got ruined by it. And it's actually really sad, especially when it's your junior Marine and you don't know how to help them. Because like I've never been married. So like he's looking up to me. I'm like, I haven't been married. I don't know what to do for you. I really don't.
Yeah. It's always an inspiring story to see when the guy gets a really good divorce lawyer or something along those lines. And he's able to turn a bad situation into, something not so bad.
Yeah. Get the proof.
How much do you think of it,
The signs are there.
I hate to be that guy, but I've thought about this. How much do you think of like the whole, because it's notorious that like military, vets or guys, that they get cheated on or, just end up divorced. How much do you think of it honestly is on us? Because I mean, let's be honest, like we contribute to that problem.
This ain't all on the women. I'd say it's like 60% on us, 40% on the women.
Okay.
Right. Because like,
and not even like intentionally when I say,
yeah, some of it's not intentional. So one of the things that I know probably does it is we were actually talking about earlier, and this is if anybody who's watching has ever heard like nice guys finish last. It's not that it's nice guys finish last because nice guys are pussies. You have to be kind, right? The issue is because of what you deal with in the Marine Corps, especially infantry, you kind of become an asshole. The way I think about it is you basically have life and death in your hands, like the power of life and death in your hands. So you unconsciously start to look at everyone else as like they're lesser than you because they're not responsible for that. And even if you're not trying to, like, I know everyone out there, if you're in the infantry, you've probably looked at someone like, wow, this guy wouldn't do anything. Definitely, there's a lot of blame on us.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, at least, I think it's also just not an experience, but I feel like just because we're young and don't have any well, most of us don't have any life experience, we just either make a dumb choice of not picking a wise partner to be with, or woman to be with, I should say, or getting married too young, or whatever it may be. I feel like a lot of it's just, we're still kids when we get in.
Yeah, we got some stuff to figure out as people.
Yeah. Two unmarried guys talking about marriage advice.
Hey,
asterisk, don't listen.
I feel like I could actually give pretty good, just because I've had a lot of junior Marines, and I've seen a lot of people get cheated on. I've seen a lot of marriages go good. I've seen a lot of marriages go bad. Mm-hmm. I've noticed pretty much every person that I've met that I knew, if I met their girlfriend or their wife, I could tell if they were cheating when I met them, and I was usually right. Mm-hmm. I'll give you like a little tip for you guys watching if you want to know. The first time I noticed it, the way I knew was because anytime he was talking, she didn't look at him like at all. And I was just like, wow, that's weird. Anytime I've had a girlfriend, if I was talking, she'd usually look at me when I was saying something. This girl wasn't looking at him at all. And so immediately I was just like, I'm not sure exactly if she's cheating yet, but I know she doesn't like him that much. And then the way she would like kind of pull away from him eventually, at one point by the end of the conversation, I was like, yeah, she's definitely cheating, 100%. And then I was right. Yeah.
Do you just have to be blunt with it and tell him, like, look, buddy, you might want to get a prenup very quickly if you haven't already?
Depends on who they are. If it's my friend, then I will be very blunt with them. Mm-hmm. If it's my junior Marine, I'll be like, hey, how's things been going with your wife lately, or something like that, if you don't mind talking about it. And then I will try to lightly bring up things I've noticed in the past. Yeah. I don't try to be straight to the point with them like that, because it's kind of a weird dynamic to have.
Yeah, well, you don't want to be too blunt or something like that. I mean, at least in terms of conversationalists, because then they're just gonna want to dig in and be like, no, they'll be in denial.
Yeah, it's also because the big thing is junior Marines don't want you to think you're losing confidence in them, and unfortunately, that's something where for some reason, if I brought that up, that junior Marine might think that I think less of them for that. It's like, oh, you can't even keep your wife interested in you, even though that's not what I'm thinking. I've never had a wife, but that's what a lot of them might think. Yeah. If I do that, so instead I just, hey, how's things been going with your wife lately? And then I'll try to subtly throw in.
You don't want it to come across as judgmental or like a negative light.
And then now, if they bring up things they've seen in me, then I'll start bringing up things that make me realize they're things that I've noticed, and I'll be like, hey, start getting proof. Mm-hmm. If they're married, if they're not married, then it doesn't matter. You just break up with them. Mm-hmm.
And there you have it.
Yeah.
So what is next for you? I mean, even though you're doing the engineering job, do you just still plan on doing that and being in Cali for however long? Or
yeah, I plan on living in Cali for a while. I've already talked about it. I do want to start a gaming company making games. So I still plan on that. Been wanting to do that for a while. Mm-hmm. But on the side, I do want to stay at the company I'm at too. I want to keep this gaming thing as a side thing, and maybe it gets really big. I don't know, because I really like the company I work with.
Yeah. Awfully long pause. I don't like that. But you and Tree, if I'm not mistaken, you guys lived together, right? Was that pretty fun living with? Because I also lived with Marines as roommates when I got out too, and that actually turned out to be very fun. Was the same thing with you guys?
Yeah, it's awesome. Love him. He's like a brother. Yeah, he's moving back to his home state now for I don't know for how long, but yeah, it was pretty awesome. I like living with him.
What is gas? I think you told me too, but what is gas number 2 doing, by the way? Because you also have a twin, by the way, who looks exactly hideous like you do. Who's also doing I don't know what he's doing now, but if you could.
He's still in the Marines. He's over at Edson Range, teaching recruits how to shoot.
Oh, in San Diego. Okay.
Oh no, that's on Camp Pendleton.
Camp Pendleton. Wait, Edson Range or
Edson? Yeah, that's on Camp Pendleton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm still getting. Yeah, remember, I was only East Coast, so I'm still trying to map it.
Yeah, that's on Camp Pendleton. It's not in San Diego.
Okay. All right. I get it now. Yeah. Does he plan on Does he plan on doing what you do and getting out, or do you know what he's up to?
I think he plans on getting out.
Should I do an episode with the both of you two here?
It's up to you. Maybe. I don't know if he might do it.
Yeah. Well, it is up to me technically, but it's also up to you guys too. If you even agree to come back on to this.
No, I can force him to come over.
Okay. against his will, because
Yeah,
we all
against
know
his
he,
will.
yeah, because I'm sure he doesn't want to.
Well,
ruin
that's the only
whatever
way
career
someone's.
opportunity-
That's the only way someone's coming on this podcast. It's against their will.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to take a strong bribery or a way to get out of a prison
Yeah,
sentence.
y'all
to
didn't
get
see
on
this on camera, but he actually had me at gunpoint. So
here. Yeah, he's actually on gunpoint right now. He doesn't
Yeah,
want to
it's
be talking.
behind the camera, the guy editing the video, he's got a gun pointed at me right now. So
Yeah.
I try not to look at it because it scares me.
Oh Lord, what was I gonna say with that? What did you want to keep doing though? Because I know after when they said that they were going to promote you to staff sergeant, you basically called it quits there. But what was the? I mean, did you want to stay in forever? How long did you really anticipate being in the Marines? Then what was the
If
plan?
I could have stayed in till for 20 years, just in a 60 section or something, or being an FO, I would have done that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, everybody seems to, even like officers will acknowledge how like sergeant is God, because it's essentially the best of both worlds.
It's
in the enlisted
great.
Marine.
You're the sergeant is a lot of ways taken more seriously than staff sergeant. Staff sergeant's like kind of there's the bottom of the food chain of the staff NCOs. They're not trusted as much. They get all the shit work. But when you're a sergeant, like you're basically like God to them. And when it comes to like, we need you to show what needs to happen with your guys.
Yeah.
Like they listen to you above all. It's pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. Now, realistically, though, I mean, is this kind of what you expect? Because, like, obviously with the Marines, or maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, you couldn't have stayed sergeant forever. So, I mean, did you at least think about that, like how that was going to play out?
Yeah, I did think about that. I'd always intended. I knew I wasn't going to stay past sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't even want to be a sergeant, to be honest.
Really?
No, I was okay being like a corporal or lance corporal.
Mm-hmm. Is it just because of the? Because obviously with sergeant, I assume there's like more responsibility with it.
Yeah, you got to be in the office a lot more. I just didn't like doing that. I hated it. It wasn't my thing.
Yeah. But don't you ever think though? I mean, that's part of the natural progression, because you can't always be like the. I don't want to say the ground level, but at some point, you're going to have to work with people, be a leader at some point. I mean, don't you think that's part of the? Not saying you don't welcome it or you don't like it, but don't you think that's part of the natural progression?
No, yeah,
of
it's
what
part of the
should
natural
happen?
progression. And I realized that. I wasn't an idiot. I knew that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'd always intended. I was like, I'll stay in for like 8 years. I'll get out. Get like the sergeant.
Yeah. What did make you pick because everybody's always got this story, but what did make you pick Marine Corps over other branches, or at least the American Marines versus Japanese, whatever they have over there?
So I was actually going to the recruiting office I was going to try to be a Navy SEAL, and the Navy wasn't there. And this Marine like poked his head out of the office, and he was just like, "Hey, trying to join?" I'm like, "Not the Marines." And he was just like, "Well, the military. You want to join the military?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, "So either way, you want to go in the military?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's just like, "Well, worst that happens, if you're going to join the military, either way, it's the Marines." And I'm like, "That's a fair point."
Yeah.
And I went and had a conversation with him. I was like, "It's actually really cool." And the thing he said that hooked me was that like the Marine Corps is kind of like, there's obviously exceptions, but it's kind of like the only branch where even if your leadership dies, your standing orders is to continue the mission.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's cool.
I like that way.
Yeah.
Crazy to think, because I consider myself one of the luckiest people on earth, but crazy to think how just because one Navy recruiter was not at his post or wherever he was supposed to be,
The
and
Marine Corps had the worst Marine to ever grace.
Well, not the worst Marine. I give it. I think you were a great Marine. I'll be honest with you, but it's just the fact that I had to waste 4 years of my life with you, and also 2 hours of this, whatever this is.
Yeah, that's everything coming to.
Yeah, I should have mentioned this, but what you guys have been listening and what you guys will listen to for another hour is just 2 hours of my life that I'm never getting back, guys. Like, I'm sorry, but this is just part of the punishment that my agent decided to give me.
Yeah,
So.
you're telling me. I'm losing points for this.
Nah, I feel you. Yeah, is your cutting score not going to be higher because of this one?
Yeah, I like every female that sees this is going to be like, "Oh, this dude went on that podcast." No.
Yeah, have you ever heard of you've been keeping track of the women, how they have this thing called the ick now, where there's just like that one weird thing, and they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, like
4 years a slave, ick.
yeah, he's Asian. Now I'll deal with that. Big chin. Oh, you know what? I'll deal with it. 4 years a slave. Nope, gone.
Yeah, ick, absolute ick.
Swipe left.
Left.
Yeah, pussy, drive.
He's on 4 years a slave. Probably has a small dick.
Well, actually, I call mine the third leg because it actually hurts at the end because, believe it or not, it's so long that when I tie my shoe, I have to keep it, like away.
Oh, mine's just incredibly small. That's why I have a massive lifted truck to compensate for that. Yeah.
Okay, so wait, do you have a small penis because you're Asian or not because of the lifted truck, right?
No, it's because of the lifted truck. It shrunk when I got it.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know it works like that.
Yeah, that's physics.
Well, well, you know what? You are Asian, so I will trust your science. What was I gonna, so in theory, if you, I don't know if delifted the word, if you lowered it, would your cock go to normal size?
Yeah, it's like per centimeter of lift, it's like a centimeter less cock or more. Huh. So
okay.
Yeah.
So why have the lifted truck then? I'm a little curious then.
Well, I also have to compensate for my shitty personality. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, if you're compensating for a crappy personality, this is the wrong place to show it. Have this up for a week. 2 views. Not surprising. No one likes this. But East Coast, West Coast Marine Corps. I know you already have a voice in this. Well, I think everyone has a voice in this. Everybody loves West Coast Marine Corps better than East Coast, it seems.
Yeah, East Coast makes harder Marines, like Marines that can deal with more shit. West Coast makes better trained, and I don't even think it's close. I'm going to be honest. So really sorry to all you East Coast guys, but like 100% of the West Coast makes better trained Marines. Mm-hmm. But they're also like, the people on the West Coast complain so much when like the East Coast complains a lot less. I've never seen so many people.
Wait, East Coast complains less?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like way less. Yeah.
That blows my mind. I honestly couldn't think we could complain more, if I'm being honest with you.
I like West Coast, though. It's fun. I hated being in the swamps all the time.
Yeah, definitely don't. I'm a Florida boy. I grew up there, but I definitely don't miss those at all.
Dude, oh my God. Do you remember that time we were on that field op? And it was with Lieutenant Byrd.
Okay.
And, well, I don't think you were with us. I think we told you about it. And we're making a movement. We're getting up to this big river crossing, right? And Lieutenant Byrd's just like, hey, I shouldn't, it's just a really funny moment. We're going to cross this. And I look over at him. I'm like, really? We're going to cross this? And Christy was just like, I don't think we should do that. And Lieutenant Byrd's just like, yeah, it's really not that deep. And then Whitman comes walking up. He just got around the corner. He's like, is that a fucking yacht? And there's a yacht going across the river.
What?
And our platoon commander was just like, yeah, we
Yeah, a yacht on the what?
Yeah, there was a yacht going across the river, and like Whiteman just got around the corner and said that. I just started dying, dude.
Yeah, I was definitely not expecting it to take a turn like that. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, it was very deep. It was a very deep river. It was not crossable at all.
Yeah, could you imagine that just being like a college guy, like a 50-year-old man? You got like a few bad bitches with you on the boat, and all of a sudden you just see a bunch of like 81s Marines just like on the beach or on the shore of the swamp trying to figure out a way to walk through this. Like, I'm glad I'm not any of those guys, especially the one with a massive chin over there.
God, man. I imagine they had to hide you too, though.
Well, it's kind of hard to hide me. I mean, I don't know if you've seen this, but, it's a very, very easy target, by the way.
Yeah. They use you as a terrain feature, man.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this, but so crossing the lake wasn't, like, when you mentioned like crossing that river or that lake, whatever it wasn't like stuff like that doesn't cross my mind because my head is so buoyant. I don't think about sinking.
Yeah. Do you remember what's going to happen tomorrow?
I fly back to Albuquerque? No.
So I just don't know. I had to throw that one in.
I thought you were smart.
Oh, no. We already established that. I'm an idiot.
Okay.
I'm just lucky. That's how I got the job I got.
Mm-hmm. And you're lucky that we're already halfway through this, so we're almost there through this dreaded episode.
God, your Colonel Sievert's one was really good.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Everybody
Well, he
loves that
made it.
guy.
I mean, I should say so.
Everybody loves him though. He was awesome.
Oh yeah, the grand old man of the Marine Corps. I will
Yeah,
give
he
it to
was-
them though. Like he definitely knew how to interact and like conduct himself with the enlisted versus everyone else. That's what everybody gave him a lot of credit for. Did you have any good BCs or any like higher ups when you were in West Coast or other units?
Yeah. I think he's a major. He actually might be higher now. It was at the time. His name was Captain Hulse. He was the company commander for Alpha Company in 1-1. That guy was an absolute savage. So his like one of the first things he did. We were doing a hike, and some people were falling out. We got to the end of the hike. At the end of the hike, he got the company skull circle. And it's just like, I just want you to know, if anybody's falling out, anybody, we're gonna do this hike again. I'll send you the fucking combat camera. I'm like, dude, I love this guy. He's very big on that.
I feel like combat camera doesn't have any like. We all have these now, and GoPros, thanks to Charnes advertising that pretty well.
Wait, what?
That combat camera's obsolete because we can film our stuff for us.
Yeah, well, I guess they're called Comstrat or Stratcom, whichever the order is now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what they call them now.
What's the like? Is there a difference, or they just have to?
Yeah, because it incorporates more than just taking pictures, I guess, because they actually have reasons they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not just taking pictures to take pictures; they're actually trying to. I don't know if I should say it like this, but like
Go ahead and say it.
create certain political environments in different countries and then here.
They're essentially like our media in a way.
Yeah, that's why it's like communication strategy or whatever whatever it stands for, strategic command, or I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah. You know, JD Vance, that actually was, he wasn't combat camera though, but that was his MOS. That was his field of expertise. He was a media, maybe?
Yeah, he was still enlisted though.
Yes.
Still enlisted.
Was still
All that
enlisted.
matters. That's all that matters. Maybe get him on here.
I do. JD Vance.
JD Vance?
JD Vance, right here. Please. Anybody. Please. Well, not anybody. Just anybody other than him, but JD Vance,
Yeah, just
come here.
not me again. I don't want to waste my time again. I literally had nothing going on today, and that was still better than this.
You had no expectations, and you were still let down.
Yeah, I expected nothing, and I'm still getting disappointed.
You know who came up with that phrase? You know who said that one?
Who?
Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh,
You know that?
Oh, so you did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said I was a great actor and I had a lot of things going for me other than my big head. I remember there was a famous clip from I don't know what it was about, but it was all the brothers from that show. They were in a golf cart and they like drove it into a pool and it slowly started sinking. And the caption of it was like, it's your third time at the underwater egress trainer, but you just take it.
God, I did that trainer so many times.
That's
That's fun though.
You liked it?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's really fun. I think most people think it's fun.
Yeah.
Other than Rivera, I guess.
But he passed it though. I mean,
Yeah,
granted,
after like the second or third attempt.
Well, I mean, look, he's Hispanic, give it to him, all right? Not the best swimmer, but let's be honest, there's a lot of iron ducks in the Marine Corps. I don't want to, clown on him for that.
I was an iron duck at first. Yeah.
Oh, really? You were an iron duck?
Yeah, until I went to the sniper end dock.
Interesting.
I figured out how to swim a month before the sniper end dock.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, that was rough.
They make you swim in the sniper end? Well, I
Yeah.
guess that makes sense, but
Yeah, you do the SS package.
I forget. Yeah, tell me about that one. I forgot about.
Yes, the SS package is very similar to the Actually, I think it's pretty much the exact same as the little recon screener. You do like a 500-meter swim, 1.5 mile run. Is it 1.5 or is it 2? I don't remember exactly how far it is. And then you do pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, and then a big long pack run, and then the obstacle course twice. And you have to do that in a certain amount of time. Yeah.
And you did. Correct me if I'm wrong. You did fairly well in that, but
Yeah, for never having done it before, I guess. Especially considering I learned how to swim a month before it.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
They actually complimented me on that, and then I ended up being late to the final meeting. That was my fault, 100%. So,
I've heard Asians are fashionably late though,
yeah.
so it's a cultural thing, not really.
Yeah, I fell asleep, and then Harriet woke me up.
So what was the ultimate reason they didn't take? I mean, because if you, I
I
would
was late to
assume
the meeting.
that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I'm sure there was other things, but
Because if you pass with flying colors, I would think
Like, I'm not
you
the
would
best
be-
candidate. It's not like I was John Wick or anything. I wasn't even close to that. But with Captain Anderson, he really liked the fact that I literally learned how to swim a month beforehand.
Okay.
And just like, and you passed the swim, like you actually got within the time you're supposed to. They didn't even care if you passed it, by the way. They were just wanting you to do it, right? So you could have failed it, and they still would have taken you as long as you had everything else they needed. But I actually passed it still. And but then I was late to the meeting, and he actually brought up a good point. They had dropped one dude mid-op because he was an asshole. Like, he was being an asshole to all the people there, and they dropped him. It was like, so like, if we dropped him for that, it wouldn't be fair if we took you after you were late to the thing that we said you couldn't be late for, and but nobody else was. And I was like, that's a fair point.
I feel like they're lying.
No, they were. He really did, because he was even. I don't remember his name actually. Crap, dude was awesome.
I've been in cahoots with a lot of the snipers. I'm trying to think who might have been there. Simpson, Bridgeforth, Jones, both Joneses actually. Silvestri. Who else was there? I don't know. Maybe we won't. Maybe you don't.
Bridgeforth was awesome. He put in work.
Okay.
There. Even though he was dying, he couldn't swim, and he was dying. He was a really good partner there. He was always helping everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Plus, he was a funny podcast guest, unlike some people.
He's always funny.
Dude,
Some of the stuff he used to say we cannot say on this podcast, but
I'll have you know, I still have stand-up skits that were inspired partly because of half the stuff he said. He is that funny.
yeah, that man would get the whole formation laughing, dude.
Yeah.
I saw him at Target once.
You
here.
told me, or no, I think he told me about that. Or either one,
Yeah,
one of
because
you
he
two
was
told me.
because he was an instructor at SOI on the West Coast. And I saw him at Target. That was a while ago, but
He said that he saw both of you, I think.
yeah, it was both of us. Now I think about it, it was.
It's like, oh shit, both of y'all here?
Which Target did we see him at? Was it San Clemente or was it? I want to say it was San Clemente. Yeah.
That's a lot of fun. Do you think how do you think your career would have taken a shift if you? Did you think it was better that you weren't snipers? Because if you were snipers, it might have changed your direction, being like with mortars and how your second enlistment probably would have.
I think I would have eventually been pretty good at it, but I think it's probably better I stayed in fires because it's not even being like cocky, but fires just made a lot of sense to me. There are certain things because I like physics and all that just made sense, so I learned it really, really well, really easily. I didn't really care for being a mortarman. Like, I honestly probably would have preferred being a rifleman, but I was able to understand concepts about mortars pretty easily, so it just made sense. I think I probably, if I had gone like cross deck and ended up going to Arty, I probably would have done really well. I don't know if I would be a good platoon sergeant though, like as an actual legit. I don't know if I'd be good at that.
Do you even think you'd even want to be that? I mean, because
No, I would not want to be that at all. No. But I don't know if I'd be, because I don't care enough about a lot of the other things that you have to do. I just really don't care about it. Like, and this is not condoning this type of mindset for anybody else, but I wasn't the guy who would look at formation, see a messed up haircut, and actually give a fuck.
Yeah.
Even though you should. You actually should care to a point, right?
Well, yeah, of course.
I didn't really care if someone called me by the rank. I thought them following my orders was enough, even though, but the rank is actually kind of important.
Yeah.
Not kind of, really important.
Yeah.
Basically, the only thing I really took seriously was just knowing the job well. I didn't take enough of the other things seriously, which you need to as a platoon sergeant.
Like a lot of the, I don't want to say customs and courtesies, but like the professionalism, quote unquote, like that part you didn't really.
Yeah, like it wasn't important to me.
And I don't say this question to like pick on you or to like say, but how much of it do you think is like more that you don't care about it versus, because I could see how some people like would say stuff like, and I'm not saying you do because I've seen how you act like with your juniors, but I feel like some people would maybe use it as an excuse to like not want to be like confrontational or because they don't trust like their ability to handle like people going astray. You know what I mean? Do you still feel like you would have handled that comfortably?
Yeah, I could handle that comfortably. I think part of it is because of bad taste that got put in my mouth when I would see like Pogue units or other people that took that part way more seriously than the combat part.
Yeah.
Like I get it, it's important, but like I'd rather my guys survive and inflict our will on the enemy than come to formation with a perfect uniform. Like I don't give a fuck about their uniform if you're comparing it to this thing.
Yeah. I think one thing that I've tried to, because like this is just me talking, but I've tried to articulate from like talking with Sieverts or Major Geiger or, you know, like any of the good leaders we've had. I feel like the professionalism and like all the other, like having good hygiene, having a good uniform, having like getting to formation, all like the disciplinary stuff, like those are good. They should be mastered. They should be learned, and they should be like respected as rules. But they're just appendages. They're not the foundation of what makes Marines Marines.
I actually think they're really important. It's just hard for me to find it really important while I was in. Like I can see it from the outside looking in, but while I'm in, I care way more about the job.
No, of course.
But it actually is really important when you really look at the optics, right? That's one of the things. It's the whole picture of the Marine Corps because part of the warfare that we do is psychological. Because Marines are really good at fighting, but we're not really that far removed, even when it comes to fighting well. And I mean, the Japanese were willing to kill themselves, right, in World War II. So we're really not that far removed from a lot of other militaries. It's the whole encompassing is like when people go to fight with the Marines, they're already scared before we start. And I don't know if you've ever watched like UFC or anybody watching. I know you have. And Mike Tyson used to talk about too, like he won the fight before he got in the ring.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the Marine Corps does. And I think all of it together equals that picture. So like they always have this perfect uniform, this whole thing. They always have great hair, depending on the person, I guess.
Yeah.
They're always kind and that kind of thing. And then they're also really good at fighting. And I think also, by the way, that adds to it is these guys can be so kind to everyone, but also be brutal warriors at the same time. You know, like a monster who knows how to control himself. Right. So I think that's part of the image. But while I was in, I just didn't give a crap about it. Right? I was just like, I just want to be good at mortars.
Yeah. I feel like that's a very common thing with the enlisted side too, because it's like, you know, because I mean, the word grunt I think is so perfect because you literally are in the trenches doing the actual hard labor, the hard work of whatever MOS you're doing. So like, obviously you're going to place a precedence on it, but like you said, you don't see the reason to have like all the other stuff in play, because to you it's like it's not important for me to know how to, you know, work like my radio as a radio operator, or to be a good machine gunner, or be a good platoon sergeant. It's like you feel like yeah, you have your priorities set in a different. It's like
yeah,
and
that's a way to think about it too. Is imagine from the outside looking in, we're not in combat. We haven't been in combat for a long time. So nobody actually knows if you're going to be good at fighting until you're there. So what other metric do we have to figure out if you're taking care of your dudes?
Yeah.
Check their uniform, that kind of thing, right? I just still didn't care about it. None of my guys were never like outrageously out of any way, because I was lucky I had guys that at least cared enough to not be that shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I get the optics. But because I knew being in that I wouldn't be able to care about that I just wouldn't care about it while being in, I was like, yeah, and I probably don't belong as a staff sergeant. Yeah. They wanted to promote me, but no.
Now that you've been out, I mean, has it like changed your perspective, or do you look at the Marine Corps differently?
Yeah, I can look at it from the outside looking in now, but I know if I went back in, I just revert back to how it was.
What do you think now that you've been out and you see a little bit of the civilian world now? What do you think the Marine Corps got right, and what do you think they got wrong?
How do you mean?
Well, that's actually a good question. So in terms of like how it conducts itself as an organization.
Oh, the Marine Corps actually conducts itself really well as an organization. Yeah, because because I've worked in the civilian world before too, and at least in the Marine Corps, you got people that maybe they lost faith, but they still joined for a specific reason. They all had a common value. Imagine being in a company when nobody has really any common values. Everyone lied about their ethics just to get in the company because they needed a job. So trying to put all those people together, like, it's no surprise that things aren't going to work as well in certain areas. I don't know if you noticed, but companies literally, like almost every company in existence, has a metric that they measure out for failure, where they try to measure that into their funding, because they know that they're about its turnover rate, about employees leaving. They know that employees aren't going to be as good at their job as they need. There's going to be imperfections. They literally have a turnover rate for that.
Yeah.
A metric for it. In the Marine Corps, we have a metric for it, but we don't really focus too much on it because we know everybody's going to at least care enough, mostly, to fix that metric. But you go to the civilian world, and you tell a guy he's kind of below average on work, they're not going to care.
Yeah.
Just how it is. I've seen it. Yeah. So the Marine Corps has that going for them.
Yeah. Feel it. You got any other funny stories or any things you can think of? Memories?
Man, there's a lot of funny stuff that has happened.
I will say I think one of the coolest things about us working together, because so we were on different guns, but dude, like it was really cool when we would merge both the sections and then both of our guns would be together. I don't know what it was, but I found our dynamic pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. We had a fun time. There's actually some stuff I don't remember. I've had a lot of concussions. I literally forget some stuff. Yeah. So sometimes I don't remember things. I've had trouble remembering my guys before. I
Really?
look at them, I'd forget their name.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny? I've actually, well, we might have talked about this before, but supposedly, I don't even think they proved it yet, but it would make sense, that rocket blast and ammunition, the concussion that brings that has actually been linked to CTE.
Yeah, the blast attenuating device on a mortar. Concussion, if you don't go below the bad, like, you're getting a concussion.
Yeah.
100%, especially if it's charged 4, which happened multiple times for me.
Oh, you can talk about, well, we can talk about this one, but do you remember when we had the suicide watch? It was like, we had a suicide watch in our barracks because somebody tried to do it from like another company, wasn't even related to us. We had it for like a day. We also got Staff Sergeant Bulford, which, Phil, you're more than welcome to be on here too. He showed up, I think, like that week too, and I remember the Friday formation, he goes, look, if anybody needs to go to the hospital or like something bad happens, just give me a call. Like, let me know if something happens, all right? That next day, I had a seizure while you were on watch.
I remember that, dude. What was it, Keith that helped out with it?
Whitman did. Whitman
I thought Keith did too.
didn't. No,
Yeah.
I remember you and Whitman were on watch because you guys were the ones out in the barracks or like on our floor.
Whitman wasn't on watch. It was me and Keith, and then Whitman happened to be talking to us at the time, and he helped or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, okay.
But I know Keith was involved too.
Yeah, I don't remember. I can't remember how Keith did it. Because I know Whitman. He was the one who actually carried me to the hospital.
Oh yeah, he did. I
Yeah.
do remember that actually. That was.
Yeah, walk me through. Yeah, because we could both share our stories of that one. But if you want to walk me through how that played out to you, or whatever memory your concussions have let you have of that.
I don't remember a lot about it, to be honest. I just remember like that was such a shock because I didn't know what to do. I was like, crap. So we just called somebody, and then Whitman's like, we'll get him somewhere, and then he picked you up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I will say all things are a blessing in disguise. I got to skip out on the egress trainer for a day.
I love the egress trainer. I had no problem doing that. Though it used to be harder. It's a lot easier now.
What have they changed?
So you remember how it used to be 6 runs? It was 6 runs. The 6th one you did with no rebreather, with blackout goggles, and full gear. They got rid of that one. So now you have a rebreather the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I guess too many people were failing on that one.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it is the hardest level, so I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, dude. What's so funny about that? If I can look deep enough, I still have because everybody took pictures of their card just in case it got lost before that deployment. I still have that just in case World War III pops off.
I still have that picture.
Yep.
Because Charnes took a picture of all of them and sent them to everybody.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
I miss him.
You know, maybe we should call him because I actually texted him to confirm if Gunny's number was there, so I'll call him and. Because I'm sure he'd love to be on at one point, and then we can also have him roast you for a little bit. Plus, we got to call someone to offer them to be on the show, which
Please pick up. I haven't talked to him in so long. I actually do miss him.
Yeah. All right, let's see. I need to get the dumbest, goofiest photo to show them.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, dude, how you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing really good now that you're here. Hey, listen, I don't know if you're busy at the moment, but you are live on the podcast right now. And do you want to guess who's today's guest right now?
Oh,
I'm live with them in person, so.
were they in my peer group?
Yes, they were in 81's platoon specifically. So
Okay, what section?
2.
Section 2.
Mm-hmm.
Pedal.
Incorrect.
Philly.
No, go a few more guns towards section 1.
I don't know. Section 2 was so bad that I just don't remember that. What rank do I remember them as?
What rate? They were corporal right before you left. He did he did re-enlist though. And he was a sergeant right before he got, yeah, so probably sergeant right before he left us.
I don't know, dude. Just tell me.
Hey, what's up, dude? It's Gas.
Gas? Which one?
Oh, the one that was in 81. There's not 10 of them.
Yeah, my best friend. I remember Gas.
What's up, dude? I haven't talked to you in so long.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, it has. I saw you had a kid. Congratulations, by the way.
We're doing things out here. We're spreading the love around here.
Yeah, you have to have more charms out there.
Yeah,
Yeah, you bless the world with your presence.
A second generation of Charns, the Yell at Phillies kid.
there we go.
Oh my God. How have you been, dude?
Things are great. Living life. I'm, sleeping in a little bit. Going to bed when I want.
Oh, that's
No one
good.
screams at me, so it's great. Love it.
That is perfect.
Yeah, things are good. What are you guys doing? What's going on here?
We're on a podcast with the 4 Years a Slave podcast right now.
Oh, that's weird. I've heard of that. Weird.
Yeah, you've heard of it? Yeah,
How that started.
it's pretty.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty lame.
Watch your mouth because I helped to start that shit.
Yeah. Well, when you have me as a guest or as a host, excuse me, I mean you can kind of see how the quality dropped off, but
No, I've been seeing the production since I left the we'll call it the company. Handed the ship to my man Sewell, the only one that can handle it.
yeah. Well, hey, I mean, some things have to evolve, but hey, I will, you're a co-founder, so don't ever feel down about it. You're a part of this. This is also
Sorry,
you're
we're dropping the tier by having me on here today.
That's beautiful. I'm glad we got someone reputable on here.
I don't know about reputable, but yeah,
Bad reputation, sure.
yeah, we've been. You'll enjoy this one, Charns, because we've done nothing. So we've been on for about an hour and a half now, and 30 minutes of that has just been nothing but us roasting each other back and forth.
Mostly with the shape of or the size of my chin and the shape of his head.
Oh yes, the elongated face of
Yeah.
wisdom.
Yes. So you'll have a lot of jokes to bring up against me whenever we get in an argument about something silly.
Oh, okay. Okay, very well.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Are you still coaching soccer? How's everything with you?
Yeah, we just had cuts. We just had tryouts for the boys. Things are good. Yeah, school being a teacher is amazing. It's the best gig ever.
Okay.
I love it.
Are you still at the same high school?
Yeah, so at a public high school here locally where I grew up. I love it.
All right, dope. Have you so I don't think I'll be in the area, but I'm going to be coming to North Carolina in the next few months. I'm trying to figure out how to do something in Virginia because other than you, I have 1 or 2 other people that want me to come out there. Are you still fairly busy up until the summer?
Yeah. I work all day, dude. Yeah, you can come see me whenever you want, and I'll let you know when you get here if I can see you or not.
Okay, sick. Hey, I'll watch the baby for you, so that way you and Sarah can go do adult things and enjoy your life a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely trust you that much. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, of course. I mean, I never said I knew what I was doing. I don't, but. All right. Well, hey, Charns, do you have any? Before I let you go, do you have any funny memories or stuff to embarrass Gas about?
Oh God.
Gas?
Yeah. I mean,
See, gas is hard. Gas is hard because Gas was, I don't want to talk too many nice shit about Gas, but Gas was always hard working. He didn't fuck up a lot.
Mhm.
Gas stuck his nose to the grinder and just kept rolling.
Thanks,
then
man.
You know, when you think about the other guys in the platoon, everyone had their trades, so then you just had dog shit. You know, like Sewell. He didn't know how to do anything. Thank God we had McAllister on the roster to help Sewell get on the gun. You know, he's got the fucking tube pointing the wrong way. He's trying to blow up Lego Town, and it's like, nah, that's not the impact area. I don't know how Judd handled it.
Funny you bring that up. You know, Lego. So we're in San Diego, and Legoland's not that far. So sorry if I got that confused. By the way, I thought it was a worthy target to shoot at.
Well, we burned the whole place down, like Staff Sergeant Cody or whatever rank he is now said. You know, we're gonna put the fire out with HE. And that's fine, and we're gonna make it happen. Put it on
It works.
fucking delay, it'll go out.
Yep.
We need to get these rounds out of here so we don't have to do paperwork before the fire team gets here, before all the firemen get here.
Oh, God bless. Charles, are you? At what point will we get you on the show? I do want to do this live in person, so you know what? I might have to save that question for another day.
I'm a lot more inclined to participate in the show now that I don't have to do anything with it.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah.
So, editing all of this was excruciating. I did not like that.
Okay.
But I don't know, man. I mean, I will say, like, I am a teacher at a public high school,
Uh-huh.
and you know, with that, there's a lot of hey, healthcare is good, baby. I can't lose that job. So I might have to be a little bit more reserved than I would, 4 or 5 years ago when we started this.
Hey, that's fair.
But,
No, of course. I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, trust me, I would never pressure you to, say something that you would regret. I mean,
maybe we do like a real show, like an episode where it's anonymous and it's definitely not me on there, and then whoever that is can say all the really fun stories about, rocks at Bridgeport or, or whatever the dealio is, or, teaching young Marines how to behave correctly in the tree line. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely won't reference this clip so people won't know it's you, but I would love to do that though. That'd be perfect. When we'll do it.
Yeah, I'm all about it. This is the show that we all needed, and we were lucky enough to get it rolling. I think it's important, and Sewell, you are doing an immaculate job bringing the homies together. I will say I've met a lot of fellow Marines and some of the other branches and representation that want to get on the podcast, baby.
Okay,
so it'd be cool to get some perspectives from some other people who didn't grow up in Wallace Creek like us.
Okay.
Well, luckily I was in 2 other units.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, you guys just staying for 30 years. And
Oh, I'm out now.
I know. I heard.
Yeah.
I heard it through the grapevine. People, talking.
Yep.
You need to get Philly on. We need to get Philly on there. Gunny V.
Yeah.
Maybe Lieutenant Bird. Get his perspective.
I'd love to get all those are great picks. Hey, so Gunny B just texted back. We're gonna reach out to him. But hey, Matthew, I love you. You're killing it in life right now. I'm gonna let you go. I'm glad we got you on. Okay.
Yeah, you hang up on me. That's not happening. I'm gonna hang up on you. Okay, Sewell?
Okay, you do that for me, okay, buddy?
I love you guys. Keep the
Love you, brother.
podcast going. Stay motivated. Re-enlist if you need to.
All right, we'll try.
All right, much love, guys.
All right, bye, buddy. Still the same sense of humor, and I hung up on him before he did me, so pretty good.
You got it.
All right, now for the Gunny B one, do you want to call him and
You can call him on there.
Okay, all right.
See if he does it.
Yeah, let's see if he does. All right, I'm just gonna call him, see how it.
I
So he
haven't talked to him in
texted
a
back
long
5
time.
minutes.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
You son of a
The
bitch!
person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone.
What do you mean you're not available? Let's see if I can try to get him on. All right. Fuck it. We'll just call him one more time. If he doesn't pick up, then unfortunate. So it went straight to voicemail.
Call has
Which,
been
yeah.
forwarded to
Okay,
voicemail.
okay, Gunny, dude. What do you want from me? All right. So went straight away.
Go do that. That's the biggest thing you need to do. And then just know your job. Like, one of the easiest ways to be able to take care of your guys is knowing so much about your job that they can't argue with you. The command can't argue with you about it.
Love that. And do you have anything you want to promote, social media, where people can follow you, anything like that?
Yeah. Let me, I don't remember what my actual Instagram is called. Yeah, mine is Thomas _ the gas type.
The gas type.
GASS. Yeah. It's like a little pun on Pokemon, I guess.
Sticking to your Japanese roots and enjoying the anime, I see.
Yeah, I don't even watch Pokemon. I don't even play it that much. I was thinking about it at the time.
Okay. Well, shoot, I want to get them on, but this honestly was really fun. I enjoyed it a lot, despite the comedic jokes and all that. So,
yeah, we love each other.
Yeah.
In a non-gay way.
Yeah. Boot bans are
not on, so we can't do anything.
Yeah. No homo, no diddy, whatever the word is nowadays that people would wish to say. Well, we'll be out of here, gentlemen and ladies. Gas, we'll do whatever for the rest of the day. Bye, everybody.